It's time, guys. Gen 2 brakes are getting installed in all their glory. Some things that have changed: caliper brackets, hubs, dust caps, hardware, rotors. All of this has changed, including brake lines. All that has changed in our Gen 2 brake kits that we have available. We'll list every option and every model that we have available currently in the description below. Let's get installing it on our link pin stage 1 PRObuilt Beam. So it's using a drum spindle. So it uses the caliper, or excuse me, the backing plate mounts to affix it to the spindle. So it can be any brand of drum drop spindle or stock height drum spindle. These brakes will work with. Please support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and enabling notifications to never miss out on new and exciting content. Let's start the install by understanding that there's a left and a right with the caliper brackets. We updated the hardware to include a 3/8 bolt, which was recommended by Wilwood. That changes from a 10mm to a 3/8, which is pretty close, but we updated it. All the hardware that we're using will be using red Loctite on all the hardware. It is supplied with the install kits and should make it easy and never back out while you're driving. It has happened to some people who just don't follow directions. So there is a left and right with these caliper brackets, and the fitting where the brake line goes, which is on the back side of the caliper, will be below the tie rod end, the outer tie rod end. So make sure you got a left and right, and it'll angle down towards the bottom. We always lube the spindle shaft on the drum spindle, so drum drop or stock spindle. The seal doesn't want to burn off. The bearings go on easier, and we also lube the seal. There's like a little V groove, and we pack that full of grease as well in the seal so that it never burns off. You're going to reuse your factory thrust washer and your spindle nuts, but we do include a new lock tab, and if you're using a crescent wrench, which is totally fine, we use a socket to tighten it down, and then we back it off a quarter of a turn. You'll notice on the driver's side, it looks like we're actually tightening it, but it's actually backwards thread. So on the passenger side, it'll be standard. You'll be tightening it clockwise. On the driver's side, you'll be doing it counterclockwise. So we'll just tighten the jam nut through the lock tab, and then we'll bend the ears down, one going in and one coming up, so that both jam nuts are locked in place. This is OEM, factory-esque. Use a little brass hammer, that way it won't make any dents or scratches on anything. New for this year was actually we're packing the cavities full of grease. Never know when you're going to be greasing your bearings or anything. We did pack them already, but we're just going to grease them to ensure long life. These are our new Gen 2 caps. You'll get one of each of these, and one has a speedo hole provision behind the Airkewld star, and one it does not. So that'll pretty much make it simple, but both sides will look the same. You'll never know, if there's a speedo cable there, and they're matchy, which calms my OCD. Included in the kit are all the stainless hardware to fasten it all, including the Allen wrenches. So that makes it easy. You don't have to go hunting for them. Remove the stars with the supplied Allen and stainless hardware. and we're going to use some anti-seize. We do carry the stick if you need it. It is an option, in the accessories section. Always use anti-seize with stainless steel hardware. So now we're going to go install it on the driver's side, so make sure you have the one with the speedo hole in it. And we'll be fastening it down. And obviously this is all aluminum, so you don't need to go super hard with it. But make sure it's on nice and tight. You got 3 bolts holding it on. So do your due diligence and audit it. You do have a small lever. You don't need to crank on it 150 pound torque or nothing. So just tight and you're good to go. We're going to repeat the same steps on the other side. We have applied Loctite to these bolts, and we'll have a description of all the Allens that we do not supply, so that you have them in your arsenal. We'll also have an Amazon tool list in the description should you want to buy any of the tools individually. Once again, lubing the spindle shaft and seal race that's built into the drum drop spindle. You don't want to leave this dry. Burning the seal means that eventually grease can fly out the back of it. You don't want to do that. Slide the assembly on and install your thrust washer again, along with your now going righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Righty-tighty, right-hand side is actually going to go on normally, clockwise. And once again, we tighten it until it doesn't spin. And then we know it's tight enough at that point, and now we're going to back it off 1/4 of a turn. So if it was at 3, you're going to go to 6, just 1/4 of a turn. That's going to set the proper thrust on the rotor. Going to install our lock tab again, followed by the additional jam nut, spindle nut that you're reusing from your existing set of spindles, and we're just going to jam it on. And it's time to bend the lock tabs again. You see in these shots, got the new badges on the PRObuilt beams. Cool thing about this is, you always have a way to find out who built that beam, and just scanning the QR code brings it back to where that beam was purchased. Pretty cool. Kind of gives it the professional vibe, which I'm all about. Once again, anti-seize on the dust cap bolts. Doesn't really matter what the orientation is. It's going to be spinning, so as long as you can get it on and tighten her down. And obviously, if you have super weak muscles or no muscles at all, have somebody else tighten this down. Once again, you don't need big muscles, but we don't want to leave it open, leave it loose. What's up, John? The little screw that we use to fasten the star to the dust cap is super small. We apply some anti-seize to it, and we do supply the Allen wrench as well. So once you're done with this, make sure you keep the Allen wrenches handy, whether it's in your toolkit for your car or in your toolbox labeled. Little trick we do over here is we just paint the Allen wrenches to know if it's indicating it's for this application, this purpose. So Wilwood 4-piston calipers, per Wilwood specs, they want you to use a 3/8 bolt. We have a grade 8 3/8 bolt and applied some Loctite. And cool thing about the link pin caliper brackets, they don't require any shims between the caliper and the caliper bracket. Sometimes per wide 5 applications, they might require a spacer to just to have adequate clearance to the bolt pattern. We use a BP10 pad. Should you ever need to replace the pads, there's a number right on the back of it that you can Google, or in the supplied kits will send you a QR code for a fast reorder should you need a rotor, a seal, a set of pads. Then we install the cotter key and we repeat it on the other side. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This is bolt-on for both a stock height spindle and a drop drum spindle. These brake kits will not fit a disc spindle. Sounds kind of weird, but the disc spindles are only built to fit the Goodyear calipers. So we torque those down to 1 buff guy horsepower. That's me. And we're good to go. Pads, once again, slide them in. Obviously pad facing the rotor, steel facing the pistons, and we install the cotter key from the outside in, and we just bend one of the legs. You don't need to bend both of them. One hold it in there. Please support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and enabling notifications to never miss out on new and exciting content.